Hey everybody, it's Bill Houston with the Bill Houston Podcast. This is the Merrimack Valley tube trailer theory video. I'm going to be reading from a report which you can get online, and it's called The Black Swan at Merrimack Valley, and you can get a copy by going to tinyurl.com/BlackSwan Merrimack Valley intro. That's tinyurl.com/BlackSwan Merrimack Valley intro. So, the last thing I want to say about these trailers in general is, and it's not directly related to the Merrimack Valley incident, but it has to do with just the raw explosive potential. So one is, here is the Mythbusters final explosion. It's 7.7 gigajoules. They took 2.5 tons of ANFO and put it into a cement mixer and blew it up.
Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ha 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 ha!
And you can easily calculate the energy that was released. It was approximately 7.7 gigajoules. Now, there is a device called a MOAB, Mother of All Bombs, or the Massive Ordnance Air Blast. And it's the most powerful non-nuclear bomb in the U.S. arsenal. It's like 11 tons of TNT, or 46 gigajoules. And then there was the August 12th, 2015 series of explosions at a port in Tianjin, China, estimated to have been about 100 gigajoules total.
Whoa! Holy!
You get that?
Yeah, I'm videoing it. What the?
I think that might be a gas station or something.
Whoa! Oh! What the? Holy! No! What? What? No, baby! No!
Please! Are we dangerous here?
Yeah, we're dangerous. Oh my God!
Oh dear!
Are you filming?
Yes, I'm filming.
Wow! Wow! I think we are dangerous.
Let's go. Let's go down. Let's go.
Let's go! Take the stairs!
Come on. Oh shit. Holy shit.
The explosive potential of these trailers is off the charts. It's really unimaginable. It's way beyond anything you've seen so far. A fully loaded Quantum VP Light 51 with a payload of 11 tons of methane has an explosive potential of 520 gigajoules. That's like 130 tons of TNT, or 67 of the Mythbusters' final explosion, 11 MOABs, or 5 of the Tianjin, China explosions. So one of these trucks has the explosive potential of 67 of these. or 11 of these, or 5 of these.
Oh! Woo! I think we are dead.
Let's go! Let's go down!
And people say, Bill, you're exaggerating. You're being hyperbolic. They say, Bill, one of these trucks hasn't exploded yet. Is that how the precautionary principle works? One hasn't exploded yet, so therefore it's safe? No, go back and watch segment number 2, and what is a black swan, because we discuss in there about the fact that when you're talking about a potential for high consequence, the precautionary principle dictates that we don't have to have a direct link. All we have to have is reasonable suspicion that a high consequence could happen. And we have that here by the numbers. This is by the numbers. I'm a numbers guy. 520 gigajoules is the fuel for a significant explosion. These tanks do explode. Now, this map here is downtown Ithaca, and this is the site of there was a truck crash a couple years ago at Simeon's in downtown Ithaca, the corner of State and Aurora. A truck came down a hill and lost its brakes. Heavy truck crashed through a restaurant and killed a woman, a young mother. So I picked this site because this is a site that's well known to the Ithaca area. And these bomb trucks, there's 2 different proposals for these trucks in Ithaca already. One was for NYSEG, for pressure boosters for the local distribution system there, which is exactly what we're talking about in Merrimack Valley. And also there's a proposal to repower the Cayuga power plant. This is not the first or last proposal for these trucks coming to Ithaca. So fighting these projects one by one, like NIMBYs, not in my backyard, that only potentially displaces the activity to someplace else. We really need a coordinated statewide effort in order to put a halt to these Type 4 CNG carbon fiber composite virtual pipeline tube trailers running at extremely dangerous pressures of 3600 psi and up need to be addressed at a statewide level, and we need the incredible Ithaca community in order to make that happen. So please, friends, need some help here. And New York is really in an ideal position to put a stop to these trucks. For a couple of reasons. Number one, because of our physical proximity to the shale gas extraction fields in northeast Pennsylvania, which makes New York a transit route to get the gas to New England, where they say that it's needed. And also due to the fact that New York has a pretty good environmental law called SEQRA, S-E-Q-R-A, the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Friends, you better jump on this campaign and help us fight these vehicles, please, because we need you. We need the Ithaca community. So here's downtown Ithaca. And the yellow line is the 1/2 mile evacuation zone from the emergency response guide. We have parts of Cornell, we have parts of Ithaca College, and a significant part of downtown Ithaca covered if one of these trucks catastrophically fails at the corner of State and Aurora. The red inner circle is the 1,200-foot known potential impact radius of when these tanks rupture. We know heavy shrapnel can go 1,200 feet. So the first question is, how many people are in that half-mile zone? Could be 5,000 people, 10,000 people during a busy time of day? Yeah, could be 5,000 to 10,000 people. Easy. Could be more. And when one of these trucks crashes, typically the roads are closed for 12 hours as they work on the cleanup and they do evacuations. So what would be the expense for evacuating 10,000 people in downtown Ithaca? What would be the expense? What would be the practicality? Would it even be possible to evacuate 10,000 people from downtown Ithaca? It's not very likely. It's not very practical. So just to play it out, the worst case scenario is something that we would call delayed ignition. And this is how a thermobaric bomb works. A thermobaric bomb uses the mass of the oxygen in the surrounding air as part of the fuel for the bomb. So The ideal conditions for a disaster here would be that first the tanks rupture and release all of the gas, which mix with the air to the concentrations of 5 to 15% in a vapor cloud, and then it finds a source of ignition. Is this going to be a rare event? Probably, because we've seen a lot of methane leaks and we haven't seen a big, massive explosion like this before. But are we willing to say that this is never going to happen, friends? Is that what we're going to say? This is never going to happen. A worst-case scenario. So we don't have to plan for it. No, that's not how the precautionary principle works. Because this 5 to 15% vapor cloud delayed ignition situation could release the power of 11 Moabs, the most powerful non-nuclear weapon in the U.S. arsenal. And according to Nuke Map, this very useful tool that's online, if you turn off the effects of radiation and you put in 130 tons of TNT, which is the energy potential in these trucks, it predicts 1,250 dead and an additional 1,670 people injured. So we're talking 3,000 total casualties is potential if one of these trucks catastrophically fails in downtown Ithaca. This is not hyperbole, friends. This is what the data says. Now I've got more detail about Seth Berry and interstate commerce. And here's Matt Smith, the executive vice president, and some of the false statements that he has made about the safety of these vehicles and whether they are explosive or not. It's a little bit off topic to the Merrimack Valley thing, but I'm just including it so that you can have a look and read about XNG's character. Now, the last clue that I got was when I actually was interviewing Doug Hansen with Express Natural Gas. I really like this guy. He was very open and candid with me. However, he gave me a clue that I think was a real reveal or a tell that they might have been involved. And I was asking him about this Albany rollover crash, asking him questions. He was, once again, very candid with me and very open. And I asked him directly. I said, does XNG have any business relationship with Columbia Gas of Massachusetts? And there was a really long pause. And then he finally came back and said something like, not on a regular basis or not on a routine basis. And I just kind of reflected back. I'm like, not on a routine basis? And he starts, and I said, I'm sorry, what was that? And after another long pause, he just said, correct. I'm like, okay, correct. And then I said, hey, you didn't happen to supply Columbia Gas with any pressure boosters during that Merrimack Valley maintenance activity, did you? And he dropped the phone. And he was gone for a long time. And I said, Doug, are you still there? Doug Hansen, CTO, Express Natural Gas. And he sounded like he was choking. He sounded like he was grasping for air. Then he starts asking me. He's like, hello, are you there? And I said, yeah, I'm here, Doug. Doug, pressure boosters. Have you ever supplied Columbia Gas with pressure boosters during maintenance activity? And another long pause. And he finally came back and said, well, what does this have to do with the New York incident, the Albany crash that I was asking about? And I said, nothing really. It was kind of just a random topic change. And then he said, I think I'm going to refer you to our sales guys, Matt Smith and Seth Berry. Now, keep in mind, he didn't deny it, but he also didn't answer me. This was very unlike the rest of the call. One big problem is these decisions are being made in corporate boardrooms, and they should be a public decision. The impacted, at-risk public are both uninformed about what's going on, and they're also disempowered. They're not presently part of the decision-making process. And here's the other thing, friends. the funding, the promotion, and the regulatory free pass are all courtesy of U.S. DOT, Department of Energy, and also the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. That's right, this is coming from the government. And the government is part of the cover-up of the critical safety information about these things is being covered up by the government. So here's how it works. The U.S. DOT issues special permits for these bulk haul virtual pipeline tube trailers because they're basically an unapproved container for shipping compressed natural gas. The U.S. DOT special permit is actually an exemption from regulation. The other thing the US DOT does is they cover up the accident data. I have had a FOIA request for certain data from the US DOT that they've been sitting on for over 1 year. So the US DOT is actively preventing citizens like myself and other independent investigators from getting access to the actual safety data on these vehicles. Now, the next thing is the Department of Energy is actually funding grants for the development of these cylinders to manufacturers like Hexagon Lincoln, and they are promoting CNG through their Clean Cities program, which is basically a propaganda outfit because they're touting the benefits of these vehicles without describing any of the risks. And then lastly, we have FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. FERC is presently ignoring Section 7 jurisdiction of the Natural Gas Act, which is interstate commerce, despite the fact that their own decisions in two cases, one is called Gulf Oil Limited and the other is called Emera. Now, the Gulf Oil Limited is the case that's most important here. It's CP 14132. I suggest that you go to FERC's e-library and look up this case and look up the actual declaratory order that was issued. It's very interesting because basically it suggests that LNG and or CNG by truck would be FERC jurisdictional if two conditions were met. One, if the gas is being re-injected into a FERC-regulated pipeline, which is already happening with XNG with their injection facility in Mannheim, New York, and it's also happening with NG Advantage. They have just built an injection facility in Johnston, Rhode Island. And the other criteria is if these trucks are being used to basically displace pipeline capacity. And the reason for this is because FERC actually has the authority to regulate rates over FERC jurisdictional pipelines. So by moving the gas outside of the pipelines, it's actually circumventing FERC's rate regulatory authority. So despite FERC's own decision, FERC is giving these companies a free pass. And this is also despite the fact that FERC is losing money not only in their rate regulation authority, but also because normally there is required a petition for declaratory order, which costs $27,000. And this is what the Gulf Oil Limited company did with their petition. They wrote a check for $27,000. So why is FERC giving up income, allowing income to pass by them and give these trucks a free pass? It's quite unknown to me, but it seems like it might be something like an executive order. Don't know. Just reporting the facts. So the U.S. government is pushing these high-pressure bulk haul CNG bomb trucks onto us, the U.S. citizens, without our permission or knowledge or consent. They're deceiving us about the safety of these vehicles. They're doing it largely in secrecy, and they're rolling this very dangerous equipment through actual communities where people live to the detriment of the citizens. So why is this a problem? It's a problem because you really don't want your government to have an agenda. The government is supposed to be a transparent vehicle or a vessel by which the people exert their collective will through the legislature and through the executive powers. When the government starts having an agenda that's something different from the agenda of we the people, well, that can be a really big problem. It's kind of like your toaster having an agenda. You don't want your toaster to be talking back to you. You don't want your toaster to have any kind of an agenda other than making toast. You want to be able to put in the toast, you push down the button, and you say, damn it, make me some toast, and the toaster just works. You want your government to work the same way. We kind of expect the internet to work the same way. We expect that Google is going to be a neutral search engine. It's not going to be pushing a particular agenda, like, for example, a particular political candidate. Like right here, this is a snapshot of Google taken from the early part of 2016, where Google was trying to tell us that Hillary Clinton had a huge lead over Bernie Sanders. In fact, that what they were doing was they were counting unpledged superdelegates prior to the DNC. Did Google have prior knowledge of who the superdelegates were going to vote for, that they were already in the bag for Hillary Clinton? Maybe. Was Google part of the fix to try to push Hillary Clinton upon us? Maybe. Here's Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Alphabet, which is the parent company of Google, and he is at the Hillary Clinton victory party. He's in the bag for Hillary Clinton. Or like Facebook. You want Facebook to be a neutral platform for the exchange of ideas and for connecting with other people. We really don't want Facebook to be pushing a particular agenda either, like particular political candidate. Ooh, look, Hillary Clinton is trending. Look, she's trending again. Hillary Clinton is trending. Look at that. And over here, she's trending. And again, she's trending. Hillary Clinton is trending. Wow, she must really be in the lead. Hillary Clinton is trending. And she's trending. And she's trending. These snapshots of Facebook were taken during, again, 2016. So Facebook and Google had an agenda. This is a very dangerous precedent, considering the amount of data and information that they have on all of us and their ability to push a particular agenda upon us via what stories they choose to drop into our newsfeed or the search results that we get back. What sites are promoted or listed first versus what sites are demoted or not listed at all. The same thing with our government. It kind of reminds me of the scene in 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
What are you talking about, Hal?
And this is all really basically the implementation of the Pickens plan. This is the plan developed by Boone Pickens to essentially corner the energy markets for the next few decades. This plan was announced in 2008, which coincidentally is the same year that that industry started rolling out slick water, high volume hydrofracking in a large way. So the essence of the Pickens plan is basically to convert everything over to natural gas. That includes vehicle fleets to CNG and sometimes to LNG. It involves converting power plants from coal to natural gas. And we've seen that over the last 10 years in a very large way. And also convert fuel oil burners in like legacy buildings in big cities, convert them over to natural gas. And then cash out, because Boone Pickens owns the midstream companies, or he's got interest in the midstream companies. Which brings us to bomb trucks. It turns out that Boone Pickens controls the Clean Energy Fuels Corporation, which NG Advantage is a wholly owned subsidiary. So billionaire Boone Pickens is one of the guys that's pushing bomb trucks. And the worst thing is, he's now getting the United States government to be pushing his agenda to make him rich. So that's it, friends. We've finally made it to the end. I hope you've learned something. I appreciate you watching this video and sharing it. Make sure to watch all 7 segments if you haven't seen them all already, because they all contain important information. And here's a couple things you can do. Please make sure to download a copy of the report at tinyurl.com/BlackSwan Merrimack Valley Intro. And be sure to share these videos and the report on social media. Share them with Senator Markey and Senator Warren, and share them with the NTSB, the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities, and the Attorney General of Massachusetts, Maura Healey. All of those people would be able to act upon the information in this report. So thanks again for watching. Please subscribe to the Bill Houston podcast on YouTube. And just in closing, I just want to again ask Senator Markey and Senator Warren to please release the data sent to you by Joe Hamrock of NiSource and Steve Bryant of Columbia Gas in response to your inquiries, which Joe Hamrock and Steve Bryant indicated was public information because they didn't send you all of the information you requested because they said it could not be released to the public. So the letters back and forth are on Senator Markey's website. However, the actual data that came along with the letters is not on the website. So I've been asking Senator Markey's office and Senator Warren's office for this data since early October. This data is critically important to release so that independent investigators such as myself can review this information, because public oversight is critical in understanding an event like this and making sure that it doesn't happen again. Thank you so much. If you want to contact me, my email address is williamahouston@gmail.com. Thanks so much for watching. Tune in next time.